right, shall we have a good congregational song here? What have we got?
We're going to do a very simple one, and I guess maybe it's because I've been singing it so much that I just know it's right. I was director of a musical, and in the musical, sang in it and all this kind of stuff, called Godspell. And I always tell people that I probably learned the most about some of the Bible from doing that play. And this is one of the songs that comes to me all the time, that you only can deal with what's there in front of you. And they called the song Day by Day. And it's very simple, and if you don't know it, you can learn it in about 2 seconds. So hang with me. Day by day, day by day, oh dear Lord, 3 things I pray to see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day, oh day by day, day by day, oh dear Lord, 3 things I pray, to see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day, day by day, day by day. Oh, dear Lord, 3 things I pray, to see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day. When? Day by day by day by day by day. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, thank you. And we are just so excited about Brent being better, which we all knew he would be. So, yeah, welcome. Good morning. Welcome to Woodland Chapel, Centers for Spiritual Living. And this is our really first day out of the house, so we're very excited and glad to see that you are all up and well, and assuming that, and it's, like it's raining. That's so nice. Anyway, so glad that we're here together, and for all of you that are watching online, welcome this morning. And we have a few announcements. Number 1 announcement that I want to talk about, we have a general meeting coming up in February, and Centers for Spiritual Living are set up on a congregational bylaws, congregational system, and so that means everyone in the community is part of decisions in the community. So in October, and you'll hear more information about that, you'll get to come and participate and have a voice in your community, because it seems like things just happen behind the scene, but this is, and you're also welcome to come to board meetings anytime you want, although I will say sometimes you might like, is this getting really long, and we're talking about the plumbing again, or we got to get a new roof. So I think most people are like, okay, you handle it, but you are absolutely welcome to come to board meetings, and then be sure to come to the congregational meeting. And there are some membership forms out there, and it occurred to me that we don't talk much about membership. Now, you don't have to be a member to be part of this community, but as our head office, Centers for Spiritual Living, which is a worldwide organization in all countries, they have a system of where that is also your vote. So Maura and Kathy will be listening in rather than traveling to North Carolina this year to the general meeting, where you make decisions for the entire community. So it's set up that way. So that's why they really look to membership and to say how much you get to vote and all that sort of thing. But for me, membership is something different. When I first went to a New Thought church, I was so excited, like all of you. It's like I had been thinking for a long time. I still think sometimes. But I'd been thinking for a long time, and it's like I kind of come to some ideas about the universe and about what I thought about all sorts of things. But I thought, I am just alone in this. The great thinker, all alone. But then I found this church, and I know a lot of you have felt the same experience. You walk into something, and oh my God, there are other people who think like I do, and it was so wonderful to have a community of people. So I went to the church for a long time, and I never wanted to be a member. Like, it didn't mean anything to me. I didn't, organizations, whatever. But one day, it just came to me in a flash that meant something, that by my commitment to this community, I was saying something about how I felt about the community. But it was deeper than that. It was about my own spiritual place, my own spiritual grounding. And since then, I have realized when you fill out a membership form, yes, you're part of a community, which is really, really cool to be part of a community, a bigger part of the community, or maybe not. I don't know if the membership form means a whole lot about being part of the community, because if you come here, you're part of the community. But what it said to me, and I invite you to consider this, when you commit, and it's about commitment, isn't it? It's the big C word that we're sometimes afraid of. But it made all the difference in the world to me about a commitment to my own spiritual growth. And here is the place where I come for teaching. And so it really became about my own spiritual growth. So I invite you to look at it that way, that becoming a member in a community is really saying something about your own spiritual growth, being supported in that, being affirmed in that. And so think about that from that perspective. And I put some forms out on the table that you might want to pick up and look at. And there will be a membership class coming up, which I think Reverend Moore, who usually does it, will tell you a bit about this church and about this particular group, but also for those who want more information about the teaching. And also invite you, particularly when a foundations class is offered, to get into that. I have taken it so many times, and boy, this is transformational. So thank you for letting me run on so long, but it's something I'm really passionate about. All right. Soup for the soul today. Yeah, soup for the soul. And the big news is, Sachi, you want to tell the big news, what we ordered from Soup from the Soul? Or do you want me to say it? We ordered the defibrillator.
The AED is on its way. Woo-hoo!
Nice. Good.
Yeah. And
But we're going to keep going for the soul because there's a little parking lot issue happening, which may be our focus from now on. We'll see. But there's an opportunity there.
Yeah.
At any rate, we'll find a good place for these funds. You can trust them with us.
so,
Today is magnificent. You'll see.
so thank you, Sachi, for organizing this. And the idea behind that was not only to enjoy ourselves, but as a fundraiser. And the first thing that the funds were being raised for was this defibrillator, to have it on site, which is really cool if you ever need it. And it's there. Yeah, it's a comfort to know that it's there. So it's a fundraiser, and they charge $3. They haven't listened to me at all when I said, "Boy, that is really cheap. You can't get lunch for $3." So that's $3, but I'm putting my word in for a higher price, and if anybody wants to listen to me, and the funds go to wonderful things that we need here at the community. All right, and I guess we are ready to be prayed in. And Cheryl is a practitioner here, and I do want to say one more thing. You thought I was done, didn't you? Is that many of us, and there's some that won't be wearing their stole today, But the practitioners wear these stoles, and this is my ordination stole, which I love so much. If you see someone with a stole on, they are available for prayer. And prayer practitioners in Centers for Spiritual Living have a minimum of 4-year training on how to work with you and pray with you. So you need prayer with something, grab somebody who has a stole on. So, and Cheryl does.
Gently. Only grab us gently, okay? Just my 2 cents. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see all of you out there. Please join me in turning within. Close your eyes if you wish, or simply refocus your gaze lightly and breathing in this moment. This is one precious moment that we call now, and we have come together to celebrate Spirit, to celebrate God, our higher power, whatever name we choose to call it. It is one amazing entity that holds us all dearly. It's energy and power and knowledge and love. A lot of love. And I know that I am part of that. I am an emanation of that glory and purpose. So, as it is with me, all of you are embraced by that oneness, that amazing energy that has brought us here today. I know that Spirit is bringing this message to us all, however it comes, through Darcy's music, through her wonderful news about Brent, and the canine energy in the room that I celebrate always. Can't help it. And through the message that Reverend Don is going to give us today, each of us taking what we need, each of us understanding in our own way, each of us celebrating in our own way. There is a deep gratitude in my heart for this message, for this power, for everything that is coming forth through every person in this room. Whether you're a member, a practitioner, a minister, or just happened to come in today for the first time. Thank you. Thank you. So I release this word into the law, knowing it is done as spoken, and through grace so much more. And please join me in affirming, and so it is. And speaking of affirmations, we have one in our program. If you'd like to join me in saying, the way divine flow moves through my life is guided by the culmination of every thought I have ever had. Therefore, I use my power of choice to choose thoughts that support the well-being of all life expressions. And so it is.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Today's reading comes from the Science of Mind magazine and is entitled Belief in Self is Greater Than the Fear of the Unknown. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Brene Brown. The gift of God is the nature of God, the eternal givingness. God cannot help making the gift because God is the gift. Ernest Holmes. Take a moment and turn your attention within. Think about the things that excite you. Bring into your mind and heart the unique gifts you came into this world possessing. The gifts you feel would make the greatest impact on our planet and bring fulfillment to your spirit. As you see those gifts, ideas, and dreams clearly, ask yourself, is there anything preventing me from sharing these even more abundantly with others? In some of my work, I work with people who are aspiring speakers, people who know they have a message, but something hinders them from sharing their messages with others. When working with these people, whether ministers, practitioners, community members, or business people, I find that one thing comes up nearly without exception. Fear. Fear of not being perfect. Fear of not being liked. Fear of embarrassing ourselves. What's interesting about these fears is that they've been created within these people's minds. They are not real, but imaginary monsters that devour and consume gifts and dreams. The tragic part is we unconsciously feed this beast of fear each day, making it even more ferocious. So, what is the opposite of fear? For me, it is belief in myself. How can we use our mind and our imagination to fuel our belief in ourselves? Simple. Recognize that every step, every breath, every action you commit to is divinely guided by the way this creative energy that enables you to be. Thus, your creation interacts with other creation, all of which flows from the Creator. We are giving ourselves to ourselves. And the bonus affirmation, I use my mind and thoughts to honor the Creator. My life unfolds in divine order. Thank you.
Right now, my whole spiritual, physical, mental, name the place, is based on trying to get in that flow, trying to remain in that flow, knowing that I am in that flow, that Brent is in that flow, that my world is in that flow, and that I just have to take it on. Remind myself that I'm an instrument and that I have the ability to shine that light. This song is called The Promise of the Sun. May I be kindness. May I be patience and hope. May I be healing. Even my enemies, I will give my love. May I have the will to give when I am afraid there will not be enough. May I speak a gentle word when the language of the day is angry and rough. May I reach out my hand where there is a need of love to ease the pain. And may I thank the sun each dawn, grateful for the chance to start this life again. May I be kindness. May I be patience and hope. May I be healing. Even my enemies I will give my love. May I be an instrument when I raise my voice. It's not me that's heard. May I live in true respect, trusting the divine perfection of the earth. May I have the strength to stand for justice and peace in the face of war. And may I thank the moon each night for the promise of the sun to rise against one more. May I be kindness. May I be patience and hope. May I be healing. Even my enemies I will give my love. Sing with me. May I be kindness. May I be kindness. May I be patience and hope. May I be patience and hope. May I be healing. May I be healing. Even my enemies. Even my enemies I will give my love.
Thank you, Mary and Darcy. And I'm just going to welcome Reverend Don. And I forgot to invite anyone here for the first time. There's information for you at the back table as you come in the door. And Reverend Don, if you have here for the first time, he's just really awesome, isn't he? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, and we're in the middle of back to basics of our teaching, and yeah, I can't wait to hear you. Reverend Don, how long have you served this community?
Well, awesome possum. I think it's been 20 years. 20
Yeah.
some years.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't keep track of things. I don't count birthdays anymore. My age is just a number, and I try to keep it unlisted. Don't care. No, thank you, Julie. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
What a week we've had, right? My goodness sakes. This morning's message is supposed to carry on from where practitioner Cheryl Ostrander revealed in the first Sunday message on the thing itself as a title. There's 4 of these we're talking about this month. We're actually going to finish the last one, which is how it works, come the first Sunday in February. So we got the thing itself, which we just finished 2 weeks ago, okay. And last week we're going to do the we said let's do the way it works, and we decided let's stay home. so we're going to do that this Sunday, the way it works. And I reread the final words from the first chapter that Cheryl did to meditate on the words that was trying to tell us. And the words themselves are very powerful. They just simply say, the mind we discover within ourselves is the mind that governs everything. Absolutely everything. Now, that's my little add to that, but it is amazing to think that. The mind we discover within ourselves is absolutely everything. It governs it all. And we call it the thing itself, God itself. Just another word that we use for God. One mind, my mind, your mind, all minds. That's really one of the boldest statements I've ever read and heard, I think. So today we're going to move on to what I think is called a second bold inquiry titled, The Way It Works. This one mind operating in a way that shares its very nature as it governs all these life expressions. The nature of God we want to talk about now. The way it works. So the key word emphasis today, of course, is going to be on the way. The way it works, the way God does God's business. And what has that got to do with you and me and everything else? So, the way God does God's most magnificent business or activities has always been a fascination for me. It really has. I've thought a lot about this. It's some kind of like a mystery all the time with me, all through my life. And I think that all persons that are seeking to know and understand this way of the divine's purpose, which really is urging us all to live the larger life. That's what it comes down for me. The larger life. Now, what that means, that life which expands into greater and greater ways of helping us to find mastery in our lives, helps us do our governing our lives. Because I believe, and it's done unto me as I believe, I believe within the human heart is a desire to have a fulfillment for being a human being, to know how to be more than just to survive being a human being. Can it not be true, really, that the real heart's desire of humanity is to thrive? Yeah, thrive, to find the keys of the kingdom's promise that's for that life abundance that we heard about, spoken by that great master of reality and life. Abundance and all good things. Isn't that more than just a dream, really? It's a desire, I think, to live the larger life. Life on purpose. You know who Paramahansa Yogananda is? Anyone? I read some of his stuff. Some time ago, he's a great soul, a spiritual teacher. He once called this desire to live the larger life the eternal quest. Yeah, he wrote a book about that. I read the book. I couldn't quite understand all of it. It was great. A quest that can lead us into an expansion of our planet mindsets and unhypnotize ourselves from our judgments and our fears of the unknown. Lots of unknown. The way it works in our human kingdom, the way God works in our human kingdom, I think, is that God reveals God's self. It reveals itself. God shows up many times in surprising ways. I call it coming out of left field a lot of times, and many times in comforting and healing ways. But it's up to us, really is. It's up to us for discovering the way to enlighten ourselves in understanding our heritage of who we are, really are. Realize that we're not just an accidental anomaly of life. No. We're not just an evolutionary creatures. I'm talking about what I believe, but I think I can back this up with a lot of the teachings from religious science especially. We aren't just evolutionary creatures at the mercy of unknown forces. We have access to the greatest power, only power. We don't want to stay in ignorance of our source either. I think we desire to be all that we can be as spiritual beings, using our physical forms as experiential human examples of the divine walking on this planet. You know, we have a practitioner, Cheryl, who did a meditation this morning, and wow, she was helping us to understand how we are walking on this planet, spiritual beings. And I believe we want to know, or at least I want to learn, the way to live and be as other great examples have done that came before us. That's why we owe it to ourselves, I think, and to all who we come in contact with, to know the way it works. Not just it does work, but how does it work? The way it works is different than the how, however. Now, I think one beautiful way that it works is that it can show up in our lives by working for us and through us, as us. This is a song we sing all the time, working through us, as us. We have it in us to follow the way once we learn and discover the truth about us. Once we get it, really get it. We're not orphans of the universe. We didn't just show up here. We're not here to just populate and perpetuate our species either, although we do a good job of that. We have within us, I think, the DNA of divine love. Yeah, a beautiful possibility for wholeness of love. Another way it works for us, and all species, is this drive to procreate, to replicate, to continue the species. All the desires of the flesh can be integrated into our full body experiences. I think we want to delight in the pleasures of all that, the way we can feel alive, immersed in it, because we call it divine love. I think we want to know what it feels like to live awake and aware as spiritual beings, governing our human experiences. I really do. And again, I think we keep coming back to the way we continue making our claim. You know, we always do this, that we are, first and foremost, spiritual beings. And that's the way it kindles and nurtures our desires to live the larger life. I can feel that. So I think the way it works, okay, it keeps showing up in our lives if we just stay in readiness to recognize there's no spot where God is not. I like that little jingle. There is no spot where God is not. There's no place we cannot see God's face. Oh, amen to that. No place where we cannot see God's face. It always is. Every place. You know, I got a confession to make. I make confessions all the time. There once was a time, I was in my early 20s, I guess you might say. I couldn't say the word God any longer. I couldn't say it out loud. I had jerked my way so determinedly away from my standard traditional religious upbringing. I began seeking and questing for another way. And for a period of time, I studied the works of ancient teachings. Kind of felt like Ernest Holmes. Buddhism, Hinduism. One of those, though, which was the Tao. T-A-O, pronounced the Tao, as you know. I found that its true meaning is simply the way. The way in which the seeker of truth travels while finding their own nature. That's what I was doing, seeking who I really was. I knew I was a father, I was a husband, I was all kinds of things, good things, but who I really was inside here. And in the corner of a space tucked away within me right now still, after studying Buddhism, accepted there in me is a part that's reserved for my Buddhist heart. There, I've always nurtured my path, my journey into enlightenment. Did you know the religious science has been called Western Buddhism? Yeah. Not by just me. The way it works in my life, the way of spirit, is to keep me grounded in my own nature as a spiritual being. As a spiritual being. I really see that we are all complex creatures, more than complex creatures. We're complex beings composed of the energy and the light and the stardust of the universe, which has set me and you, all other seekers, any seekers, in motion as human beings on those paths that we travel and seek and work in. In motion to be sometimes the travelers, the explorers of life, as we can know it. And some, I think it's for us to be the outliers. Yeah. Those who will just walk to the edge of the unknown and the promise for becoming masters of living in the now moments. Outliers to the edge. Using the ways in which our past experiences that we have, whether they be pain or pleasure, have embedded in us for learning and excavating discoveries, discovering the ways to become agents of ways to create lives of purpose, lives of transformation from ignorance to enlightenment. We like to sometimes refer to it as our innocent times, our innocent period, perhaps, our innocence, but it's okay. But it is still ignorance. Science tells us that true original energy cannot be exhausted. It can be transferred, and it's always seeking motion. It's not still. Our science of mind teaching claims that this universal energy, as we call it, is divine intelligence seeking an outlet for its expression. That's the way it works. Seeking a way to express and experience in and through all life everywhere, everywhere. The swing and the crack of a baseball bat, home run, or the explosion of a dying star, that's all energy qualified in its environment. You sitting there, me standing here. Every word I speak, a flow of energy. The way God, I think, the way God, the thing itself, as origin of all life, the way it shows us that it is not static, but it's always expressing its nature in the process of all the movements that's found in creating all life. It just runs on that way, everywhere. And I think it works its way no more efficiently than you and me. Wow. The human condition. The human mind use of the one mind of God. And it's not because we're thinking and using this mind. There's something else going on. It's because something else is triggered for us to step ahead of all other users in the animal kingdom of this mind. And we have the gift bestowed upon us. Maybe it's evolution, I don't care, but it's a gift of knowing God as personal experience. And the greater gift, even more, of knowing that we know. We know that we know. We can watch and observe and witness and know we're doing so. And this empowers us to change. To change. Change our thinking, to choose our thoughts. And we can develop and use and expand what is called directional action. I just made that up. I like it. Directional action. Directing our steps into the paths of our human journey that we all must travel. You're here. You've got to travel. You've got to be on a journey. With trained thought, we can override the habitual instinct for survival dependency and install a program of recognizing and accepting a new way of addressing and accepting anything that we call problems, even threats to our well-being. We can just open up. I saw this by who, I can't think of her name now. But anyhow, she called these stargates of our mind, the stargates of our mind, and see deeper into the life as the great way-showers of life have done before us, showing the way. Such, Jesus, we call Jesus the Christ, Buddha, the enlightened, and on and so forth. And yourself and myself. Yeah. The willing. Yeah, you the willing, me the willing. Willing to love. Willing to do so and allow others to love their lives. And create this world that we can serve everyone the way God works. That shows up, I think, in every little act of kindness and compassion and unconditional love we show even to the smallest details of life. Every little thing. Every atom, every quark, as they call them, it's moving to the music of the rhythm of the universal energy, all in motion. And when we discover that life can be a joyful dance as well as a trudging trip, having all kinds of human experiences, we can then see more widely and deeply and more often the way our perspectives have woven into what I like to call the divine inspiration to reach for the stars and beyond and become increasingly more spiritually evolved. Yes, we do evolve. We can evolve. And skilled. Yes, we can develop skills in this, at using this power, this one power of the way it works and stay in the flow of its divine right order. Things don't just happen. to us or anyone or anywhere else in the universe. Things don't just happen. It may seem contradictory to new students trying to study this religious science, but every cosmic explosion, every blink of a star is filled with the peace of divine right order. Purpose. There's a purpose. It's filled with that peace. We keep learning as we keep living that there really are no accidents in the universe. We keep saying that, but it's the truth. It's coming into focus for us. We're seeing that. We literally are swimming in the purpose for our being alive at this moment, this time. We speak a lot in our messaging about this free will beingness, our gift of the power to be able to make these decisions and choose and make choices. We talk about that all the time, and it's because there's truth in that. In my life of spiritual seeking, that's another thing I have to tell you about. In my discussions with others that I've run into, I've used to hire dozens and dozens of people to work in sales, and I'd run into all kinds of interesting characters, people. But I've run into a few of my fellow seekers who proclaim that they're atheist and at least agnostic. And the reason that all comes up, that similar belief, they believe that they hear many followers of religions claim that God's a loving God who loves his children, the human race, is all powerful, in control of the universe. And yet, they say this all-powerful God allows the atrocities of war, torture, murder, plagues, and plundering of his children of earth upon one another to go on and on and on and on. It's beyond counting for the history of humankind to even remember. I just got a call this last Christmas from a long-time acquaintance. He always gets a hold of me on holidays and says, how you doing? How you doing? We talk. He claims his atheism. But he called me and he said, he was screaming into the phone at me. He says, see what I mean? He said, look what's happening right now in Gaza with Israel and the Palestinians. An eye for an eye doesn't even cover it. He was really angry. I knew I had to change the whole conversation. So I asked him how his dog was doing, the love of his life. It's truly, he got a show dog. This is quite a dog. And the subject abruptly did change about the dog shows and the ribbon awards and over the years that this dog had won, and we finally said goodbye, and that was that for now. But yes, I've talked with him about this, and I want to tell him again someday that there is a power, yes, in this universe that does govern like a great mind. I don't know, was it Weinstein said that? Somebody says it kind of acts like a great mind more than it does a mechanical whatever. And the way it works, I want to say, in our human condition is that we have the gift of using this great mind power any way we desire. He agrees that our thinking, I know we've talked about, he's told me about this. His thinking gets him into trouble all the time as he has his own life alleys and his dead ends and his suffering and his problems as well as his joys and pleasures. His favorite self-deprecating comment is this. He says, I don't know what in the hell I was thinking. Because we can use this power through the science of mind understanding that thoughts are things from the trained mind or the untrained mind, matters not. This power is activated and we can and do suffer. But we suffer because we ignorantly use this power of choosing, making choices that lead to negative or unhappy or destructive results. I'm not telling you anything new. But there's a blessing of freedom for choice that has a north star of truth. I call it that because it's a truth that says, yes, we are bound and we suffer because we are first and foremost free. Free to use this great gift of power, connection by our thoughts and choosing, and we suffer because we are free to choose and do as we darn well please. But the truth goes on to reveal for us that because we are first and foremost free, we can use this great power to free us from suffering. And in fact, it's the only power in the universe that can do this. And consequently, the only power which can free us from suffering, because that's how it works, saying yes all the time. That's one of the ways it works. And the Science of Mind teachings confirms for us that the way we choose to use our beliefs becomes what we develop then as our faith. That becomes faith. For example, if we believe in heaven and hell, we set up a state of fear faith. And then we live by those symbols of rewards and punishments and become a way to travel in fear through life. Oh yeah, we can and we do suffer, don't we? Not because suffering is imposed upon us. God does not impose or withhold. It's not in the category, not in the verbal category. But we suffer and commit acts of suffering because we stay ignorant of our true nature, who we really are. We don't have to work constantly on developing faith. We have to be working diligently on what we can do and do believe, and then the rest will follow in divine right order. That's our gift, as well as our challenge and our opportunity to know the way God, the divine intelligence, works in our personal lives. I don't think I ever told you my favorite children's joke. Children's perspective on the way God works. Did I ever tell you that? I'll tell it. You forgot it. Okay. Well, take a moment and see if it has a chuckle left in it for you. The joke starts with a group of children lined up in the cafeteria of a Catholic elementary school for lunch. At the head of the table, there's a large pile of sweet, polished apples. And the nun made a note and posted it on the apple tray, and it said, "Take only one, God is watching." Moving further down along the lunch line, at the other end is a large pile of chocolate chip cookies. And one child whispers to the other, "Take all you want, God's watching apples." So, I need to close with commenting on something here. Many years ago, I heard a song titled, "From a Distance, God is Watching Us from a Distance." And in discussions with fellow New Thought students, religious science students or otherwise, we could all agree that how this was a lovely tune, melody and all, but it was contradictory to our teaching of the oneness and the closeness and the idea of God and us and God closer than hands and feet and so on. Until, as time moved along, I came across an Ernest Holmes perspective. I could work into this. The idea that God as creator, creative principle, would not create a being such as us and not give us freedom and self-governing to discover the magnificence of our divinity. Of course, God, the whole universe, has the long view of infinite becoming and infinite knowing of the forever principles that don't deal in perfection. From a distance, you see, we see wholeness. From where I stand here, oh my God, you are all a beautiful flash of color. If I get close enough, you're absolutely gorgeous. And if I get closer and closer, it's a hug. Okay. But anyhow, from a distance, we see that wholeness. The world looks blue and green. You know, I just love that, thinking that way. We, in our humanity, I think, realize that our divinity by seeing beyond the details into the larger life, and that knows the wholeness of our existence. And I'll stop right there. Thanks for listening. Namaste.
From a distance, the world looks blue and green, and the snow-capped mountains white. From a distance, the ocean meets the stream, and the eagle takes to flight. From a distance, there is harmony, and it echoes through the land. It's the voice of hope It's the voice of peace. It is the voice of everyone. From a distance, we all have enough, and no one is in need. There are no guns, no bombs, and no disease, no hungry mouths to feed. From a distance, we are instruments marching in a common band, playing songs of hope, playing songs of peace. They are the songs of everyone, and God is watching us. God is watching us. God is watching us from a distance. Oh, God is watching us. God is watching us. God is watching us from a distance. From a distance. You look like my friend, even though we are at war. From a distance, I just cannot comprehend what all this fighting is for. From a distance, there is harmony, and it echoes through the land. It's the voice of hope. It's the voice of peace. It's the voice of everyone. And what? God is watching us. God is watching us. God is watching us from a distance. Oh, God is watching us. God is watching us. God is watching us with perspective.
Thank you, Darcy. Oh, I'm so glad you could be here with all that you have going on, and we look forward to Brent being here back pretty soon. And so this is the time in our service for we get to participate, and when Don talks about us being instruments through which that infinite power uses us or allows us to participate. And I like to think that this part of the service is that very sacred time where we get to actually put into form that very practice of being used for good, for the continuation of a spiritual community that serves. And so there's an affirmation in our bulletin.
About divine love, right?
Yes. Could you read that, please, Don?
I don't have it here to read. It's in your program.
All right. Well, I will do it. I should have it memorized.
Divine love
move me and through me.
Yes.
Blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Freely, freely I have received. Freely, freely I give. Divine love through me blesses all that I am, all that I give and receive. You know, sing with me. Freely, freely I have received what? And freely, freely I give. Divine love
So we know that the power of our words, and I just speak my word over these gifts and the giver, knowing that there is power in blessing. Blessings have a distinct power as we claim that for each one of you, a divine blessing for your gifts, for your participation, for your very life, and for these gifts that they go forth creating something very, very good for everyone. And together let us just say, and so it is. And we have in our bulletin a prayer of protection. And let us say that together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And let us stand together and hold our hands in peace as we sing for peace.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let them begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Now there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Thank you, Mary. That made it so much easier. Thank you. I thought it was great. I thought